Welcome to the second edition of the Digital Workflow Cafe webinar at Symphony AI Summit. Today, we're going to be talking about how AI is transforming enterprise service management. According to a report from Gartner, 70% of organizations will have adopted AI for enterprise service management by 2025. As organizations strive to enhance service delivery and rationalize platforms to reduce cost and complexity, enterprise service management platforms can support a wide array of use cases across lines of business, IT teams, and developers. The rich platform functionality and robust practices make ESM an ideal platform to support service operations and connect service delivery teams with a focus on business value. Forrester defines enterprise service management as a platform extending IT service management capabilities beyond technology services to address business-centric use cases, managing service demand and supply through common platform, portal, and service catalog, and speeding up innovation and workflow through PaaS and low-code development tools. ESM is not new and has a long-standing presence in the market, but what we're currently observing is a transformative shift fueled by the latest technological advancements such as generative AI and Copilot. These innovations hold the potential to reshape ESM landscape significantly. Our webinar aims to explore how AI can enhance enterprise service management, exploring the tangible benefits it can bring to ESM. For this second edition of the webinar, we're joined by Doug Tedder, a recognized industry thought leader, author, blogger, and frequent speaker and contributor at local industry user group meetings, webinars, and national conventions. Doug is the former president of ITSMF USA and a member of HDI. Welcome, Doug.
Tim, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm so looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome, same. Okay, Doug, first question for you. Could you share some insights into the ways generative AI can enhance enterprise service management?
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start because, ESM, as you just said in the introduction, is nothing new. We've been talking about ESM now for, at least 10 years, probably more. And but the challenge that we've always had with ESM is very much the same kinds of challenges that we've had with ITSM or IT service management, in that we're very reactive in regards to service management. With an enterprise approach to that, and we can put together workflows and manage the flow of work through an organization. And we've had that capability for a while, but the issue is that it's very reactive. So this is where I see a huge opportunity with advances in technology, especially generative AI, to really enhance ESM. It becomes a shift, and I think this is the fundamental thing that technologies like generative AI is doing for us, is that we shift from just pushing to pulling work. We can do both now, whereas maybe prior to this, ESM was all about pushing work out. Now we're able to pull work, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Like from a enterprise perspective, one of our challenges is always about how do we train and how do we provide the right kind of training at the right time to the right resources. Well, with generative AI, I can sit down and say, hey, what do I need to know to be successful at my job? And that content becomes generated, and it's taking information from across the entire organization. New hires especially, kind of hard to navigate how to get work done within an organization. So, things like simple service requests, how do I do something? Where do I go to get this? Just scratching the surface of how I think generative AI can really enhance enterprise service management.
Yeah, excellent. I agree. Doug, you were at a recent event, I believe it was last week or the week before last. Did you see any new technologies out there that kind of played on what you just said, being more proactive instead of reactive?
Yeah, one of the things that I saw, and I did see, quite a bit of, there's a big push in our industry with generative AI and AI-enabled capabilities. And one of the things that I saw that I was quite impressed with is the ability to have service request or other kinds of service management kinds of request workflows, those kind of things just being generated based upon someone using their native interface. So they are in Teams, or they're doing something in a chat or something like that. and the AI engine was able to pick up on that. Are you asking me to do blah blah blah, and
Right.
gives you a little description of what that was entailing, and give the person an opportunity. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I
Yeah.
thought that I think that is eye opening.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds pretty neat. Awesome. Well, thank you. According to a Forrester research report, AI is expected to reduce ESM costs by up to 30%. How do you envision the role of AI in automation in enterprise service management? And where do you see opportunities for applying automation within ESM?
Yeah, I think that is really the strong business case for the use of AI and automation within organizations. Uh, if we can automate things, that means we're doing things as efficiently as we can, or at least the best known way of doing things, and that drives a level of efficiency just by itself. So, here's a couple examples. What does every company struggle with? I have not found one yet that doesn't struggle with onboarding new employees. And because there's so many moving parts that are involved with getting an employee onboarded, you have to come through the HR organization, and they've got to, set you up with your job, and here's your salary, and here's your benefits, and you're an authorized, you're a real employee, so to speak. If you're working in a campus environment, you got to get your facilities folks involved. They've got to set up the workspace. They've got to set up telephony. Maybe they're having to do some electrical work, or maybe some data network work kind of thing to get that workspace ready to go. And then, of course, you've got IT that's involved that provides the enablement for that new employee to do their work, access to systems, and so on. And with every organization that I've encountered, that's kind of disjointed, and there's kind of this stop and start, and meanwhile the new employee is sitting there and not being able to even get started, much less be productive. Just think about automating that, and understanding the flow of work within the organization to make that happen in a way where all the work is very orchestrated and we're doing things in the right sequence. I think that's, gosh, if we can solve that one, wow, right?
Yeah,
And that's
for
just
sure.
one. Another one, when I was working in the corporate world, was always a challenge for our finance colleagues was, how do you get a manager to approve an invoice for payment? Right, we're getting discounts oftentimes if we pay in a timely fashion, and the accounts payable people would send out the invoice or drop an email. Oh my gosh, right? That's all we had. And can you take a look at this invoice? Did we receive the service? Did we on and on and on, so they can actually pay and take advantage of whatever discounting or payment due kinds of deadlines that we had. Think about automating that. Just I receive the service, I approve the invoice immediately, it comes through, and we drive a lot of efficiency just by being able to automate that kind of workflow within the organization.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. Onboarding, offboarding is kind of the poster child of everyone's pain point that we seem to talk to in this industry. Some cool use cases we've seen with our customers is how they're automating their cloud infrastructure, because that can have a huge cost impact on the business as well as far as the usage goes. So we've seen some really cool use cases of folks using automation to spin up environments in AWS or Azure, and then making sure that they come down in time so they're not getting charged extra for that usage. So very interesting and powerful stuff for sure.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
the introduction of cloud, it just, there's so much convenient. And I remember the big rush
Yeah.
for organizations to get into the cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it brought a level of complexity, which, to your point,
Absolutely.
the automation can help us a lot from an organizational perspective with those things.
Yeah, we talk to organizations of a certain size where they don't even know the cloud usage of the departments that they're supporting there as well. So that obviously has huge overhead and huge cost implications too, for sure. Next question, Doug. Considering the anticipated impact of AI on improving employee experience, can you elaborate on how generative AI and Copilot specifically contribute to enhancing this aspect?
I think this is perhaps even a bigger opportunity for organizations to take advantage of things like generative AI and Copilot than even onboarding a new employee, if you can believe that, Tim. And here's what I see is I think maybe the largest impact is how organizations discover, manage, and use the knowledge within the organization. Think about the amount of knowledge that is present within every organization, but the challenge is it's often hidden, it's compartmentalized, it's not shared outside of a particular work group or a department, that kind of thing. It's really very much what is the old saying? The left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. And part of that is just that we're not able to effectively share knowledge within the organization. And so when you bring it back to the employee experience, think about it. People tend to do better at what they do. They tend to be able to contribute better to the organization, and they're happier when they're being able to contribute and feel like they're making contributions and their contributions are valued and they're doing good work. They tend to do better when they know what to do and can do that work with confidence. Well, some of that is knowledge. We have knowledge within the organization, and being able to draw from that knowledge and understand how work gets done and what are some of the things that we know within the organization so we can avoid the rediscovery of knowledge. I think that's huge. And then you add AI to that vast pool of knowledge that is already present within many organizations. And oh, by the way, constantly being updated because businesses change, workspaces change, marketplaces change. So we have to keep that knowledge current. And it's quite the gargantuan task, as you might imagine. This is where AI can help. And being able to tap into that knowledge, being able to identify solutions, become more confident in the work that I'm doing. Even AI can help provide recommendations for what to do next, or perhaps even potential solutions that we already know about from other areas of the organization, but we're just not exposed to that. So I think that may be the largest impact of introducing things like generative AI and Copilot within many enterprises.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. I think it's going to be interesting. We obviously we have a deep knowledge of knowledge bases and how important it is to keep that information as accurate as possible. But now that we're introducing co-pilots that are going to be getting you or generating that information almost instantaneously, it's going to be interesting to see how important it is to an organization to keep that up to speed, or what other tools are they going to be integrating it to pull that data, right? Because as we know, knowledge bases can become stale quite often. If you don't stay on top of it, then it becomes useless and people don't end up using it in the long run. So definitely exciting. So last question for you, Doug. Looking ahead, what do you foresee as the future of ESM in the realm of generative AI and Copilot technologies? Additionally, so I guess this is two questions. Could you shed some light on challenges and opportunities organizations might encounter as they embrace these evolving technologies?
Yep, Tim, this is an exciting time for us in not only from a service management perspective, but having the opportunity to take advantage of these emerging technologies like generative AI, like automation, like a lot of the things that are coming with this new evolution in technology. And I feel strongly that enterprise service management, good enterprise service management, is really foundational for enabling the effective use of generative AI and Copilot and things like that. Again, back to my earlier point, one of the challenges that we've always had with enterprise service management is that we are very reactive. And think about what could happen if we've got a good platform for extending service management across the organization. Every organization has a lot of service providers. It's not just IT, finance, our facilities folks, things like that. They are also providing services. So we think about how ESM can help improve collaboration within the organization, provide a more consistent approach for approaching and getting services from our various internal service providers, right? I mean, today it's go to IT and you do it this way, you go to facilities, you do it another way. Think about how that would help with respect to that. Understanding how value flows to the organization through our value streams and being able to, instantiate those in our enterprise service management platform. That great opportunities for us, and that would result in organizations becoming more responsive, being able to respond and pivot to changing market conditions because we're going to know how we're doing things today. So I think ESM is foundational for that. But as you might imagine, this is emerging technologies. We've got some challenges for the use of this technologies, not just ESM, but also AI. And I think one of the first challenges that we have is that organizations need to define their digital strategy. We've got to think through how we want to leverage and exploit our digital technologies, and it's just not plug the system or the network or the cloud provided services into our network and suddenly things work better. We have to think about how digital technologies help us enable us and meet our enterprise goals, our mission, vision, objectives. And then, take it one step further. How can enterprise service management then enable that? So we have to think about the digital strategy. It's not just plugging in computers anymore and getting it on the network. We have to really think through how we want to take advantage of digital technologies. And then that brings up the next challenge that we have, and that's with data quality. The success that we can get with use of technologies like generative AI is so dependent upon having a high level of data quality. We've got to do a good job in having good quality data by which we can make decisions and we can start to route workflow and automate and those kind of things, which means that we've got to have some level of data governance. Maybe that's something that organizations haven't considered before. Part of the challenge I see also is that many organizations, that each department may be a little bit process poor. They really don't understand how work is being done, much less have it documented. It's been institutional knowledge or tribal knowledge that's been handed down from employee to employee. So that's a challenge. Can't automate things that we're not aware of. And then, the fourth challenge I would mention is, how do we get adoption across the organization? Quite frankly, some departments are going to be more eager than others to adopt the new and evolving technologies. That doesn't mean those departments that are a little not as willing, or maybe they have work capacity constraints and they don't have time to do it right now. That doesn't mean we omit them. But we have to recognize that we may do this in different speeds within the organization. Well, quite frankly, that's how business works. Some lines of the business work a little at a different rate of speed than other lines, and that's okay. But recognize that adoption is going to have to be done in a very iterative kind of approach. But again, I think what this does is it brings organizations some great opportunities. One of the things that I think organizations are starved for is, how are we performing at an enterprise perspective? We can look at things departmentally, but being able to pull things across and look at an organization holistically to understand performance, I think, is a huge opportunity that we get from this. And then, I mentioned this a minute ago, but just being able to respond to changing market conditions and understand and get insights into what's going on with our market based on our data, gives us that capability to respond much more quickly and become much more responsive.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, touching on your I guess data quality comments a couple of minutes ago, I feel like that's going to be incredibly important. The collective attention span of at least folks maybe in my generation, certainly the younger ones, is much shorter, where if we get the wrong data when we're trying to use one of these tools, we will then not want to adopt it, right? So yep. I think, out of the gate, making sure your data is as clean as possible and what the Copilot is giving the consumer of the product is as accurate and up to date as possible is going to be incredibly important. Awesome, Doug.
Yeah, I totally agree. Tim, this has been a great conversation. I hope the listeners get a lot of value out of it, and perhaps we've shared a thing or two to give them to think about. But I understand that Symphony AI has been doing some work in building these generative AI capabilities. What specifically is Symphony doing, and what approaches are you planning in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to show you a quick slide deck if you don't mind.
That'd be great.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Yeah, I'd love to show you a quick slide deck if you don't mind for a couple of minutes here. So talk about Symphony AI Summit and what we offer the industry as well. So a little bit about the company. Symphony AI Summit is a part of a much larger organization known as Symphony AI. We have over 1,300 customers worldwide. We have multiple departments, as you can see up here on the screen as well. We have over 3,000 employees that are located in 33 countries around the world, and we are based out of Palo Alto, California. A little more about the company. We're focusing on Gen AI as well. Some of our accolades are listed up here on the screen too. Our founder, Dr. Ramesh Wadhwani, was recently recognized in the Time 100 AI influencers list as well. So if you get a chance, definitely check that out. Some of our customer base, I'm not going to list any of the companies on here. You guys can see the logos though. We're very proud of all of our customers that we have worldwide. We're seeing a lot of great momentum and adding to our customer base on a daily basis. We can support any industry, as you can see here as well, as we are more of a horizontal tool that can be supported by any company. Some more of our awards and recognitions as well. We're very proud to be the Gartner Peer Insight Voice of the Customer for 5 years in a row. We're going for number 6, fingers crossed this year. I'm sure we'll get it. We are a leader in ISG's provider lens for ESM as well. Now, what we aim to do here at Symphony AI Summit is to simplify work, increase productivity, and deliver a delightful user interface with our platform. We break our platform down into 5 different areas. We have IT service management, which we talked about a bit today, enterprise service management, enterprise asset management, service automation, and generative AI copilot. Now, we do all this with a low-code, no-code environment. We offer a multi-tenancy platform. We can support multiple departments, like you mentioned, Doug. So it's not just IT that's the support provider, but HR, facilities, finance, etc. From an ITAM side, we have an agent and agentless discovery that we can do, software and hardware management, asset lifecycle management. I mentioned the service automation before as well, where that's kind of your zero-touch automation there. So that's your tier 0 support, where we've got some customers that are resolving up to 40% of the incidents that come into their service desk just because they have that kind of built in to the service automation. And then next we'll have the generative AI copilot. So this is using advanced NLU, service desk intelligence, live agent transfer, and a conversational studio. So this will be what we're hoping to be kind of the entry point for all end user interactions, as well as they'll be using the copilot to help guide them either through request or solve their issues. McKinsey's research estimates that generative AI could add the equivalent of 2.6 trillion to 4.4 trillion of value annually over the next couple of years. So those are some very lofty numbers there, and hopefully with some guidance, then more of our customers will be adopting Gen AI. Our copilot is kind of through the lens of 3 different personas. So we have the end user, which is going to be the largest base that we will support there. So we want to make sure that we're providing relevant knowledge articles, like you mentioned, Doug, and automating as many tasks as we possibly can. Leaders are going to want to get real-time insight into their organizations. They're going to want trend reports, notice patterns, things like that as well. And then the analysts are going to want to help resolve these issues as fast as possible, get real-time insights as well, and make data-driven decisions. Starting with the CIO, some of those that we've interviewed, they want growth to be the #1 opportunity there, user experience, and then cost optimization. And all that can be done through generative AI copilots. Agent priorities, 75% of help desk managers say that automation has improved their team's productivity. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. If we can automate, especially these kind of the low-lying fruit or the mundane tasks that bog down the agents, that's going to make their lives easier, and then we could reallocate resources to more important projects. And this one's kind of staggering. Only 13% of employees are satisfied with their enterprise service experience. I don't know if that's unheard of. I was surprised that it was as low as 13%, but creating a good end user experience is definitely a top priority here at Summit as well. So like we mentioned, Doug, it's something where if that copilot is done correctly, then the adoption can kind of spread like wildfire. But if it's not, it's going to be something that's going to be kind of hard to introduce to the environment that you're trying to support. So kind of some of the key capabilities that Symphony AI offers: enhanced self-service and support empowerment. So something that's available 24/7, a virtual agent that these end users can collaborate with and talk to and get the support they need. Obviously, a lot of organizations are worldwide now, so that needs to be available at all times. Streamline workflow and effortless prioritization. So automating tasks and incidents to the right folks to make sure that we're lowering that mean time to resolution. knowledge efficiency as well, proactive issues and managing swift resolutions. So detect critical issues in the environment as fast as we possibly can. So like you said, Doug, being proactive instead of reactive, that's something that we're prioritizing. Make insights driven by optimization and continual improvements. So uncovering hidden trends and opportunities to make life more efficient. And then enhance user experience and workflow efficiency. Workflows is something that we are definitely trying to drive into our customer base. We can put workflows anywhere in the application, basically in any object in the system as well. So if you can automate it and have a process behind it, which is what you talked about, Doug, earlier as well, is what is our process, that can make life a lot easier. And then finally, security. There's a lot of tools that are out there that are open source that may or may not be doing the right thing with the data that you're giving it. That is something that we take to heart here at Summit. So we want to make sure that our system is as secure as possible. So as you can see here, our AI-powered LLMs are trained on large but limited data. We are a single tenant architecture, so the co-pilot for each customer is segmented to just that customer's infrastructure. We're not sharing that data across the customer base. Build a comprehensive approach for security and compliance and privacy. Obviously, accessing the system and making sure that is secure is extremely important. And then our architecture to protect tenant and group and individual information as well. As I mentioned, we're a single tenant architecture, so that data is with that one customer infrastructure, not spread across the other ones as well. Our Copilot is not trained on others' data, it's trained on the customer's data. And then finally, why Symphony AI Summit? We're an enterprise-grade application that offers Gen AI and predictive AI. Our time to value is incredible compared to some of the other competitive landscape that we see here as well. And we are a low-code, no-code environment. So it's extremely easy to use application. We generally don't require a full-time employee to maintaining that. So that can lead to cost savings across the organization. Awesome, thank you. All right, well, that will include the second edition of our Workflow Cafe here. Doug, thank you so much for your time. I know it's hard to get something on your calendar. You're a very busy man, so we all say thanks here from Symphony AI Summit.
It was a pleasure, Tim, and thank you for a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.